Hello everyone, this is the third video of phishing attack series. In last video, we discussed how to clone a site that we are going to do the phishing attack on, and in this video, I will be showing you how can you upload that site into a web server. First, I will show the site again. Sam server is running, so I'm opening my browser and typing localhost /phi80k. This is the site that we created in last video. Now we are going to upload this into a server. The server is actually the server that we created in first video, which is the Linux server. Go to your VirtualBox and run this mini Ubuntu server. And I have done a small change in this login.php file, which is I have defined some users and passwords. I will describe why we need them and how to configure these things. What I did was I typed the username as black and gave a password black at 123, and the database was phi80k. And now we have to create a database in our Linux server and do these configurations inside that database, which is creating a user called black and giving the password black at 123, and create a database called phi80k and creating this loot table. Now let's see how to do them. Log into your account by typing your username and your password. Now go to the super user mode by typing su and the password again. First we have to install MariaDB to do the database configurations. Type apt get install MariaDB-server. Then you have to specify the version 2. In here the version is 10.1. Now the database has been installed. Now let's go into the MariaDB by typing MySQL. Now you are inside MariaDB. Now let's try to create our user. To create the user, type this grant or then privileges on star.star2, then the username was black, and at here the host is localhost, identified by here the password black at 123. Now end the command by semicolon and press enter. Now the user has been created. Now let's see what are the users in this MySQL database. To do that, type select user the host from mysql.user, and here you can see there are some users which I have created earlier, and our user which is black in localhost. Okay, now we have to create our database which is phi80k. To create the database, type create database phi80k. Okay, now the database has been created. Now to go to inside the database, type use phi ATK. Now we are inside the PHI ATK database. Now we are going to create the table loop. Type this command: create table loop. Inside the brackets you have to type here the first column, which is ID. Its type is int, maximum length is 255, and it is a primary key. Before the primary key we have to specify it is auto increasing by typing auto increase, then primary key, comma, then the user, type user, actually it is user, then the data type varchar 255, and the pass is also varchar 255. It says primary key, primary key. There's an error, it says. Okay, I think the error should be auto increment here. Increment. Yes, it was the error. Now the table has been created. To show the columns in the table, type show columns from the table loop, and here our table, and it seems correct. Let's Control C and try to log in with the user that we created. Here type mysql-u, then the username was black, and the host is localhost, then the password is @123. Yes, it is working. Okay, now the database has been configured. Now let's install PHP. To install PHP, type apt install PHP. Okay, the PHP also has been installed now. Now let's restart Apache server by typing systemctl restart Apache 2, and also let's restart MariaDB. Okay, now let's upload our website into the server. Here the things looks correct. Let's see if there are any errors. Let's try to configure them. These are the files that we are going to upload into our server. Go to WinSCP and connect to your server. Here the host name is the IP address of this server. Type ifconfig, and it is 192.168.8.108. Type here 192.168.8.108, and the username is black. No, we have to log in with root to configure the website. Root, and the password is password, and login. Okay, now go to here the bar, then www into HTML. Delete everything in here. Then drag and drop all of these files to WinSCP. Okay. Now let's open our browser and type the IP address here, 192.168.8.108. Okay, now it looks like it's working. Let's keep this empty and try to login. One more of your inputs are incorrect. This is the expected result. Let's try black. Here 1234 at 1234. Login. Error unknown column username in field list. Okay, I know the error. We created a table and gave the column name user, but here in our code we name it as username. Let's remove this name part and save it again. Here go to the actions in this bin.scp and here login.php, replace the login.php. Now go to your browser again and refresh the page. Try again 1234 at 1234. Okay, now it says WordPress is under maintenance right now, which is our expected message that we discussed in last video. Seems like everything is working fine. Now let's go to our server again. Yes, it is working. This is actually localhost WordPress which is running on this current machine. You can also install WordPress in your web server and configure everything. I didn't do this for this video. It is just the same. Our web server and see the loop table. Type MySQL again. Here type select star. Before we do that, we have to go into our database. Type use PHIATK. Now we are inside our database. Now type select star from root. You have error in your syntax. Select. Okay, now we can see the credentials that we use. Let's try another one to make sure it is working. Let's go back here and let's try black hat. Here 1 2 3 4 4 4 5 4 3 2 1 and login. And let's go back to our server and try the same thing again. And you can see now it is working. Now actually this is a IP address. Users does not use this to browse their WordPress site. They use their domain name and they browse their website. For this example, let's say the domain name is testsite.com. If that was the thing, what the user does is typing here testsite.com and go to that site. If we go to the site, actually this is giving, no, it is working. It is some kind of site that I don't know what is this site, but however, let's assume that that is the user's domain name. Now we have to edit to redirect into that domain name. To do that, there is a file called host file in Windows and also in Linux systems. For Windows, it is located in this directory. In Windows, go to system32 go to drivers. Here there is etc and there will be this host file. Open it with editor. I'm using Notepad++, and here we have to give the IP address and the domain name. Here the IP address is 192.168.8.108 and the domain name is www.testsite.com. We have to do another thing. Now the user only redirect if the user enters www.testsite.com with this www dot. Sometimes the user enters only this testsite.com part. We have to edit this thing into redirect when the user enters testsite.com only. Here again the IP address, then the testsite.com part. Now save this. It is asking us for administrator privileges. Type yes and save it. As you can see, the antivirus software that I am using is detecting the change of the system file. If you are using antivirus tool, you might see this message too. This is a defense against these phishing attacks. Close it for now and minimize this. Close the browsers and open the browser again and go to testsite.com. You have to clean the browser cache too. And restart the browser. Now you can see our website with this domain. Type here again something like user123 password pass at 12345 and login. Now go back to your server and check whether the credentials got recorded. Yes, they are in the loop table, so it is working. Okay, that's it for this video. Actually, this is the end of this series. There might be a fourth video too, which I am describing about defenses against these phishing attacks. Thank you for watching.